Alright, so in this video, we'll talk about sentence errors and conjunctive adverbs. I'm going to start with the classwork. I know we did this in class. You can skip ahead in the video if you want to see the answers for the homework. So for the classwork part, we need to know a couple things. It says identify the error, comma splice, run on, fragment, or write correct. So before we can get started, we need to know a little bit of information. First, we need to know the definition of common sentence errors. And those sentence errors are things like comma splices. And a comma splice is defined when we have two independent clauses linked with a comma. This is a problem. This is an error. This is a mistake. We don't want to do this. We can't do this ever. This is a comma splice. Another problem that we can have is we can have a run-on sentence. And a run-on sentence is defined by an independent clause just smashed to another independent clause. Okay? Or I suppose you could have a run-on sentence where you have a dependent clause followed by an independent clause without a comma. And finally, a fragment. A fragment is something that doesn't have an independent clause. So if we've got a group of words with no independent clause, that will form a fragment. As a review, let's review how we should be writing. We should go, if we're writing from a dependent clause to an independent clause, we should use a comma. If we're going from an independent clause to a dependent clause, we need nothing. And if we're going linking two independent clauses, we should use a comma, and then one of our 7 fanboys words, for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. So these are the rules that we need to know. We can't do any of these questions without knowing these definitions and these rules for grammar. Now, let's take a look at number 1. The sun rose and painted the sky with vibrant shades of orange and pink. I actually think that sentence is correct. We've got one long independent clause here. So this is just one long independent clause. I love to read mystery novels. They always keep me on the edge of my seat. So it seems like we have 2 independent clauses here. I love to read mystery novels. They always keep me on the edge of my seat. And so here we've got 2 independent clauses. Oh, look, I'm in a school. We've got the bell. So we've got 2 independent clauses linked together with a comma. So that is the definition of a comma splice. So we'll write comma splice in the blank. Now, how do I know these are independent clauses? Well, we've got a subject I, verb love, they, subject keep is our verb. So we've got 2 independent clauses. How can we fix this? Well, we need a fanboy if we're going to link 2 independent clauses. Maybe another rule that I can introduce now is a semicolon will also work. So we could turn this into a semicolon, or we could use comma and or something like that, and that would work too. Let's look at sentence number 3. The dog barked loudly at the mail carrier, then it chased a squirrel up a tree. So this is a tough one. We have 2 independent clauses. Oops, we'll put it here. And then is not a conjunction. Yeah, so this is an adverb. So what we need to do here is we've got 2 independent clauses with nothing in between them. So this is a run-on sentence, and maybe we could put the word comma and here. That would work, or we could use a semicolon. Sentence number 4, although the team lost the game, dependent clause to an independent clause with a comma. This is just fine. I know it's dependent because it starts with although. Dependent to independent with a comma is our rule, so this is looking good. This one is correct. We went to the beach yesterday. We built a huge sandcastle and collected seashells. So here we have 2 independent clauses, and we have nothing between them. So if we have 2 independent clauses with nothing between them, that is a run-on sentence. What can we do? Well, we could add a semicolon or comma and. Because the bus was late again, we missed the first 20 minutes of the movie. This one actually looks just fine. So this one's correct. We've got a dependent clause going to an independent clause with a comma, just like our rule says we should have. Sentence number 7. The one with the long flowing cape and a mysterious mask. So we have no verbs. And if we have no verbs, we have no clauses. And since we don't have any clauses, we don't have an independent clause. And since we don't have an independent clause, we have a fragment. I don't know how to fix this. This is a disaster. Let's move on. Sarah wanted to go to the concert. She couldn't afford the ticket. Here you can hear that there are 2 independent clauses. That's a problem. That is the definition of a run-on sentence, and so we need to fix that with comma and one of our fanboys. Semicolon's going to work too. This is a run-on. The old abandoned house in the hill stood silently against the stormy night. That's an independent clause. Its broken windows, like empty eyes. Yeah, I don't love this sentence. I think there's a problem here. I think the best way to fix this is to say its broken windows were, so make that a clause, and then add a comma and a fanboy. I think that'll work. The test was incredibly difficult. I studied for hours, but I still found some of the questions challenging. So we have 2 independent clauses here. And there's no punctuation between them. We've already got our fanboy, though, so let's just add a comma. And I suppose we didn't put anything here. I would say that this is probably a comma splice, especially if we have the word were here. Okay? Let's take a look at the second part. We have a couple rules for conjunctive adverbs. If we are linking clauses with conjunctive adverbs, we're going to use a semicolon, a comma, and put the conjunctive adverb between them. If we use a conjunctive adverb anywhere else in the sentence, it needs to be surrounded by commas. So if we use a conjunctive adverb in the middle or beginning or end of independent clauses, it needs to be surrounded by commas. If we are having it do the work of linking independent clauses, well, then we need to use a semicolon. So let's take a look. Use a comma to separate conjunctive adverb at the beginning or end of a sentence. So here our conjunctive adverb is meanwhile. We need a comma after it. Hence, therefore. So our conjunctive adverb is just at the end, so we're just going to use a comma, because each of these we just have one independent clause. Use two commas to separate conjunctive adverbs when they're in the middle of the sentence. So here we've got, however, it's in the middle of the sentence, we need to separate it. I joked in class that these conjunctive adverbs are antisocial creatures, and we need to set them off from the rest of the sentence with commas. Undoubtedly is our conjunctive adverb, and so we'll stick commas around it. Now, last thing is if we are using our conjunctive adverb to link two independent clauses, this is a big job for a conjunctive adverb, then it needs the help of a semicolon. So most people like glue, that's an independent clause. However, I am terrified of the substance is another independent clause. So we have two independent clauses here, and we're using, however, to link them. So we're going to use a semicolon and a comma. We're going to follow our rule about independent clauses, or about conjunctive adverbs. Number 8, I don't have any bad experiences with it. Nonetheless, I find it repulsive. Yep, I do. It's pretty gross stuff. So we've got two independent clauses. And nonetheless is our conjunctive adverb. Since it's doing the work of linking independent clauses, we need to use a semicolon and a comma. Thankfully, Mr. Orlowski doesn't have to write any more blasted grammar sentences today, thus he will take a nap, and that I will. So we've got two independent clauses. He will take a nap is one, and I don't have to write any more grammar sentences today is another. And we've got our conjunctive adverb in the middle. So all we need to do is follow our rule and punctuate that with a semicolon and a comma. We are done, you guys. That is it. Take a look at the back side for homework. I'll post the answers online.